Thanks for joining us on a Saturday afternoon. I'm Jennifer Meckles. We start with some breaking news tonight as we're learning shots fired outside the White House this evening. You're taking a live look at the White House complex. We do not know yet exactly if the shots were fired at the White House or just near it, but reporters on the North Lawn at the time report being forced to take cover inside. A Secret Service official told CNN the agency was investigating reports of shots fired at the corner of 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest, just outside the White House complex. The Associated Press is reporting President Trump was inside the White House when the shots were fired. We have not heard any reports at this point of injuries. It is a developing situation, and we will continue to update you as we learn more tonight. Back here in Colorado, 4 people are dead this weekend after a shooting inside a home in Thornton last night. We're learning 2 adults and a child were killed before the suspected shooter died by suicide. Thornton police say a man shot and killed 3 of his family members. 9 News reporter Spencer Soicher has more on what we know about this investigation so far.
Engine 76, medic 76.
A little after 8 o'clock last night, Thornton police officers were called to a home at 139th and Harrison Street after a family member reported multiple people inside the home were unresponsive. Scanner audio between a dispatcher and the Thornton Fire Department alludes to what happened next.
Copy that. Further notes are requesting us to stage, and there's 3 parties down. Is that affirmative?
What was initially broadcast on the scanner as 3 people shot grew to 4.
Can you call in an additional med unit?
By morning, Thornton police said 4 people were dead. When officers entered the home, they say they found 4 people with gunshot wounds. 2 adult men, 1 adult woman, and 1 minor, a boy. Thornton police believe a 33-year-old man shot and killed 3 of his family members Friday night. The incident's being investigated as a triple homicide with a shooter who died by suicide. Thornton police told us the suspect was not the person who called in the shooting to police. Right now, it's not clear what the relationship was between the suspected shooter and his 3 family members. Police have not publicly identified the shooter or the victims. Spencer Soicher, 9 News.
All right, Spencer, a very sad update today. Thank you. 1 person is dead and several others are injured after a crash involving a semi-truck in Wheat Ridge overnight. It happened on I-70 near Ward Road and closed down the interstate for more than 12 hours this weekend. That crash happened around 2:40 in the morning. In addition to that semi-truck, there were 4 other cars involved in this crash. 3 people went to the hospital. 1 of them is in critical condition, and we're told 1 person died. Police have not said what led up to that crash or shared any update on the condition of the people who were injured. They are still investigating this weekend. The Manitou Incline was closed for several hours this morning after a medical emergency there led to someone's death. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office said this person started having breathing problems. Medical crews went out there to help. The person did not survive. We do not know anything about the person, their identity, their cause of death at this point, and the incline at this point has reopened. All right, Memorial Day weekend, a lot of folks trying to get outside today. We've got warm and dry weather for our 3-day weekend, but there are some storms moving in next week, and our weather team will be tracking those. Corey Reppenhagen joining us now with a little break. It's nice to enjoy the sunshine in the meantime.
Yeah, this weekend is really great. Today was an award winner. I'm telling you, we don't get enough of these days in the 70s with dry conditions. We'll have a little bit more moisture and some warmer temperatures over the next couple of days, but it won't be until the middle of next week before we see any organized storms. Here's Denver right now, looking pretty nice into the 70s. It's 75 down here at the 9 News studios at Spear and Logan in South Downtown. The live radar picture, really dry, pretty quiet radar. We've got 1 severe storm heading into the Oklahoma panhandle and some other weak thunderstorms out of state, but we're pretty dry here in Colorado, and the next 3 days are looking pretty nice. We'll have a little bit of moisture in the air. Tomorrow, I think we could probably squeeze out a couple of sprinkles of rain and then just some isolated thunderstorms on Monday and Tuesday. Not too much trouble over the next 3 days, but starting in the middle of the week, we could be dealing with some severe weather on the Front Range and the Eastern Plains. I'll detail that coming up in just a little bit.
Corey, thank you. Tonight, we are keeping an eye out for any announcement from the White House because in a social media post, President Trump hinted a deal with Iran might be close. Now, while negotiators are working out the final details, the president said the Strait of Hormuz would reopen as part of this agreement. The president spoke earlier today with a group of Gulf and regional leaders who encouraged the president to accept a proposed framework with Iran. We, of course, will continue to bring you any updates as we learn them, and the social media posts were shared before we started hearing about that shooting outside of the White House, so certainly both of those stories will be developing, and we'll continue to follow them tonight. A climber in Pitkin County is expected to live after a massive fall on Maroon Peak. This happened on Maroon Peak just after 8:30 Friday morning. The person was climbing the Bell Cord snowfield when officials say they fell about 1,000 feet. He did have several injuries, but is expected to survive. Mountain Rescue Aspen sent out 2 field teams. He had to do a technical rescue in steep snow terrain. They reached the climber a couple hours later, stabilized his injuries, lowered the climber back down the snowfield, all the way back down to the trailhead, where this is always good news. At the trailhead, the climber declined further medical treatment. A big portion of the $7.5 million loan given to the state to purchase Burnham Yards is now being converted into a grant, and the grant money will be used to improve that area in preparation for the new Broncos stadium. Our partners at the Denver Gazette report the $5 million grant was approved by the Colorado Economic Development Commission this week. Transportation and safety upgrades like removing the Burnham lead rail line and improving light rail access will all be paid through this fund. The Broncos owners say the team is still targeting a 2031 opening date for a new retractable roof stadium.